Okay, let's go make this precious pecan pie quilt block. But first, always remember to share this so it will save to your profile and you can find it when you're looking for it again later. Now, our quilt block is 9 pieces. It's a 9 patch, they also call it. And this pecan pie is specifically this design. Now, this is one of the simplest quilt blocks you can make because it's only 9 pieces. We're making the 18-inch size, so if you're making a quilt out of this, you only need 12 of these. Super easy, super fast, very beginner friendly. Now, we are looking at our map, as my little fella used to call it. Any picture that showed you a key kind of situation was a map when he was little. And I know that I need 4 of one color, 4 of a second color, and 1 of a third color. And I know that my blocks need to be 6.5 by 6.5 because that's what it tells me right here. It also tells me what size to cut our blocks if we're making 8, 9, 10, 12, or 15 inch. But we're making 18 inch, so we need 9 6.5 inch blocks. 4 of one color, 4 of a second color, and 1 of a third color. Now let's lay our blocks out like we want our quilt to look. Okay, this is what my quilt block is going to look like. I'm going to use my clip trick, but now you don't have to do it this way. I want you to pick your blocks up or not. You can sew them 2 at a time, and there's no shame in that. I have done that. I did that for many years, and then when I thought I had it figured out, I didn't in fact have it figured out, and then I started doing it again. Now this trick works for me. I always put a clip at the top of each row, and then I pick them up just like this. So I know when I'm sewing them together that this is my first block. So I'm going to pick up these first 2. I'm going to leave my clip on there, and I'm going to turn it over pretty side to pretty side. I'm going to sew this straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop because my grandma said so. Now I'm going to open this up, and I know this is the top. This is easy because it's all the same, but in a minute when they're not all the same, this will be very important. I know this is the top because that's where my clip is, so I'm going to sew this one to the bottom. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop. Because my grandma told me that if I did not back stitch, all my stuff was going to fall apart. And we have our first row sewn. I'm going to sew my second row and my third row exactly the same way. We've sewn them, now we're going to iron them. I'm still leaving my clips on because I want to make sure that after I iron them, I can still find the way that my block is supposed to look. Now, I'm not ironing my seams to one side or the other. I really don't care if they're crossed over in the back. I just want my blocks to be reasonably straight. This is my ironing situation. Heat resistant pad, wool mat, sheet iron. All available at Walmart. All linked in my Walmart storefront that's linked in the caption. Now, I have this heat resistant pad underneath my wool mat because if I don't, the heat will go through the wool mat and leave spots on my table, and I don't want that. So that's why I have the heat resistant pad. Now, let's put our block back together with our map. Okay, this is how I want my block to look. So now I'm going to pick one piece up, lay it over, and I'm going to sew down this side. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop. And I'm going to follow the edge of my fabric with the edge of my presser foot. That's going to give me the 1/4 inch seam. And I'm not going to look at my needle. If you won't look at your needle, just your fabric and your presser foot, your seams will be so straight. I promise, it's a game changer. I've sewn these 2 together. Now I'm going to fold this one over and sew down this side. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop because my grandma said so. Now I'm going to take my clips off because it doesn't matter. I get to decide which side of my block points up and down and sideways when I lay my quilt out. Now that I've got it sewn together the way that it should be, because that's my problem. I sew it together sideways and backwards, and then I have to take it apart because I did not sew the right side of the block to the right side of the other block. That's what I do. All right, so here is our precious pecan pie quilt block. And this is super cute, which I absolutely love these fabrics, but y'all know I love all things pink and floral because of the little ladies, I'm sure. But you could do these in any colors you wanted to and make whatever kind of quilt you want. You can do this same block over and over and over and make a full quilt out of it. Or you could put this size block in between some of the appliques. If there's an applique set that you love, but you don't want to do 12, just do 6. mix and alternate quilt block, applique, quilt block, applique. That's what tons of my students do, but I'm super excited to see the ones that you make. Here is our pecan pie block. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.